Marketing in general is tapping into an emotion to get them to make an action. So that's going to be, I'm missing out on something. It's a service that you provide that I need. It's a special or a discount that I want to take advantage of. So understanding that your website does have add a sub-layer, an emotional essence to it, hopefully will change the position of bragging about how many trucks you have, or is it bragging about how many clients you've helped? Because if you brag about how many clients you've helped, that's all I really care about. The about page, that's where you can show your fleet of trucks, because that's where we can show that you've grown your business into be something pretty awesome.
Hello, welcome to episode 3 of DM Shop Talk. I am Mike Mahaffey, our media production specialist for Valorous Circle, and here with me is
Jeremy Mullins. I'm the senior marketing director.
Awesome, Jeremy. So last episode, our episode 2, we had a really fun time, a little debate, but a very informal checklist that we went through. Kind of like we spent time prioritizing digital marketing tasks, digital marketing avenues that we believe all home service business owners should be taking part of. And then we kind of ranked them, what should happen first and what's in order of importance. Obviously, everything we talked about last week was important, but we obviously ranked which one should come first. And obviously that first one we talked about is having a website. And so I figured today, we were talking before show, that kind of diving in deeper. What does it mean to have a website? Not only have a website, why is it important to have a website if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, but why is it important to have a website that converts? What does a website need to have to convert so people just don't bounce off the website when they see it? So I guess I kind of wanted to throw that initial question your way. If you were a plumber or you were talking to a plumber, why should they even have a website?
Number one is going to be validity, right? We live in a day and age where information is at our fingertips and a second's notice. If I Google your business and if I Google your business and I visit your website, 100%, I need to feel comfortable doing business with you. And the website should validate your business and validate the services that you do and inform whoever lands on that website how they can get a hold of you quickly. I think that's number one reason is just validity of a good business.
Yeah. And I think it's important. I want to push into what you said there with services. If you didn't have something listed like there, not every plumbing business, not every electrician business, not every damage restoration business, all is a carbon copy of each other. I know a lot of business owners pick and choose what they're good at, what their team is good at, and those are the services that they lean towards. So it's very important for those lists on your website to be able to talk about what you offer so they know so potential homeowners, business owners that are needing work done, they can come to you and they know what services you guys provide.
Yep, 100%. Do you want to break down the psychology of a website, Mike?
I was going to say, I honestly would love to, just because I think that's something, it's something I could learn a lot from, honestly, and have a fun discussion about it.
Yeah, I guess the approach of a website from most business owners, like when they put a website up online, they only think about their business, if that makes sense, and they don't think about the people visiting their web page. We kind of want to slap the people who visit our websites in the face with, here's who we are, right? These are the services we offer, which is great, but if you go to a website, what makes you feel comfortable navigating that website, or what makes you feel comfortable moving forward in a website? Just take a second to think about that.
Yeah. I think it's something that is warm, welcoming, something most importantly, catches my attention, that's engaging, that is relevant to me. So I think that's the biggest thing. If I go to a website and I don't feel like, you can tell right away if this website is made for me, if I'm a person that is trying to attract. Because I think you touched on something very important there, and that's making it for the audience instead of for yourself. Because I know we've talked with a lot of business owners. I think this is one of the struggles of being a business owner is having a business. It's your baby. It's your pride and joy. Everything you've built it from nothing. So everything you've done so far, your colors, your branding, it's all centered mostly about what you want. And so a lot of the times it can be hard for a business owner to take a second, take a step back and be like, the reason why I'm having the branding, the reason why I'm having this website, the reason why I'm having this logo is so it can attract and bring your target audience. So it's always important as a business owner to take a step back, take your pride aside, and make sure that everything that you're doing, especially with the website that we're talking about right now, has your target audience in mind.
Yep. So let's dissect the homepage for a second, right?
Yep.
I'm going to say things that one should think about when they create a website and where they go. So I think the number one thing that any business needs to know is colors play a big factor in your target audience.
Yes.
And if you have really harsh colors, let's say you have black, red, and white, those are your colors. Those colors come out very bold. So if you want a mom who's struggling with a leaky pipe to feel comfortable doing or going to your website and performing an action, you really need to consider what are those colors doing and how can we point them in the right direction easily and comfortably. So is that rounding the edges of your buttons? Something as simple as rounding the edge of a button makes it feel more inviting to click on. The images that you use, is it images of your trucks or is it images of somebody that got their problem solved using your service? Which one to make you feel more comfortable?
Yeah. So that's what I'm hearing you say is, would you say that your colors and how you shape your website, as you're saying, like those buttons, play into an emotional aspect for your target audience?
Yeah, I think anything marketing in general is tapping into an emotion to get them to make an action. So that's going to be, I'm missing out on something. It's a service that you provide that I need. It's a special or a discount that I want to take advantage of. So understanding that your website does have added a sub-layer and emotional essence to it, hopefully will change the position of bragging about how many trucks you have, or is it bragging about how many clients you've helped? Because if you brag about how many clients you've helped, that's all I really care about. The about page, that's where you can show your fleet of trucks, because that's where we can show that you've grown your business into be something pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, that's good. So talking about like how bold a website can be, how bold your colors can be, do you think there's such thing as being like too bold, like too in your face when designing like your homepage or like choosing your colors?
Yeah, I think you have to think of your target audience, right? Yeah, we're going down a rabbit hole, Mike, and that's okay. I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole. Just bear with me. Let's say that I'm a business professional, right? And my son likes video games. He directs me to a website of somebody he follows, somebody he likes. And I go to that website and I see animated GIFs of like flames and brick walls and claws and stuff like that. As a business professional, would I want to spend a lot of time on that if I wasn't into that type of thing, right? So if you're a home service industry, you have to make sure that you keep your main target audience in mind: homeowners, business owners that need your help, period. Doesn't need a lot of special glare and flair is my question to you. Chances are probably not. What they need is organized content, right? Bold headlines that say, we help you in this area with this service. Call to action, as it can be a phone number, form fill, or both. Something that gets them to scroll down, even like a little arrow that points down, gets them to scroll down, or they can go down further and then start diving into the services that they want. You have to keep your target audience in mind. It's not all about you. It's all about them and how you can help them. Dan Miller wrote a really good book called Your Story Brand. And it talks about how if you make a website based on what your client needs, what your client wants versus what you do or what you've done in the past, on the first approach, it's going to make them feel so much more comfortable taking action on your website and calling you. And a great book if you haven't read it. We have to take that into consideration when we build a website, period.
I know we've seen it firsthand when clients come to us and we start working with them. We get to see if they've had a website. A lot of times we see where it's just like that super flashy. There's so many moving things on the website. Some images that's just, oh, that's cool. But it's like, what does that tell me about your business? And it's just so many moving parts, so many moving objects, just flashy images and stuff. And it gets to a point where some of that stuff can help because it can catch an eye, but if you're just doing too much, exactly what you're saying, it can be distracting. Like your website borderline needs to tell a story because you want those potential clients when they come there to know what you do, like right away without even thinking about it, so they know if you're the right person to do business with. The less that you can have your customers think, I would borderline say the better, just because it's like you're answering we talked a little bit about it, I think last week, or maybe in one of our Ask Me, our lives that we have once a week. If you can answer questions before the potential customers or clients ask them, then that's when you know you're creating the right content and you're putting the right stuff on the homepage so they know what you do.
Yep. Perfect. So we talked about colors. One thing I want to make sure we talk about are action colors, right? Action colors are going to be the color of your button, and it needs to be different. It needs to stand out from maybe even the color of your branding, or it needs to be a really loud color.
Yep.
Not that it needs to be harsh or abrupt, but people need to know it's a button, and people need to know that they can click on it. If it's the same color as a box of text, right? You're gonna look over it really easily. So we want to make sure we call attention to the spots on your website where people can take an action to contact you. Images, we've talked about images. Stock images are fine. Icons are huge, right? Icons are almost like verbal symbols that it's universal on how, I don't know, I really geek out about this stuff, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but if I showed you the shape of a stop sign, you would know that was a stop sign without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
If I showed you the shape of a yield sign, triangle with rounded colors, the same color, you'd know that it's a yield sign.
Yep.
It's just weird how us as humans know those symbols by heart. And so if we can have those icons on a website, it's going to help emphasize what we're talking about as well. So I think icons are a huge factor of web design as well. And that convert, because we can actually talk with symbols.
I said our background has Valorous Circle's color scheme. So kind of what you're talking about, would you say our main colors are the shades of blue, but those action colors, kind of like the red accents that we have, the red lines, and then the oranges, just because it adds that contrast. So when they're scrolling across the button, they can see it like it's in orange, it stands out from the blue. It's in red, it stands out from the blue. Or if we want text that they really want to read, it stands out. Is that we kind of going?
Yep, 100%. Smaller sections too, right? People don't come to websites to read a novel. Now, there's a time and a place for that information, which I think is great for SEO, but that's going to be near the bottom of a page, in my opinion. The top half of a page or the top portion of a page should be very easy to navigate. It should be very easy to read sections that are only paragraph or sentences that are split up so they're easily to read, bullet lists, tables, stuff like that. You don't want people getting lost in the information. You want to be able to find it very quickly and know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Jeremy, do you think it would be beneficial to show like our homepage to talk through some of the things you're talking about with the color schemes, the buttons? You talked about rounding the buttons. Do you think it'd be beneficial?
Yeah, let's just take it from the top down, right?
All right, perfect. So here's our website.
What's the first thing you read on our website, Mike?
You got a kind of slogan: be found, create opportunities online. That's the first thing in bold that your eyes just go straight towards.
Does that say anything about us, or are we bragging at all?
No, nope,
No,
not at all.
We're solutions based, right? So we're giving the audience a really quick solution on what we do and what they can get out of it immediately.
Yep, we're answering that question, what we do, before they ask, just so we're not sitting here, we're the best web developers in Grand Rapids, or we're the best. We're telling them exactly what we do, so they know, okay. And then if they want to learn more information, they can keep scrolling. But like, this is right when they land it, they know exactly.
All right. What's the second thing your eye goes to? If you close your eyes and just open it back up again, what's the second thing your eye goes to?
Oh, so the orange buttons immediately, just because it's that the blue overhead, and then just the contrast of the orange buttons. Book a free strategy call. The top, tell us about your project. Those are the two buttons that my eyes just immediately jump at.
Yep. Automatically, they know what solutions we bring to them and then how to contact us. Probably the two most important things a website needs. Now, I'm not saying our website's perfect. I think it's a pretty fantastic website personally, but Imagery. What picture do you see in the background there, Mike?
I see just kind of like a office, like we're looking at a couple people sitting around a meeting table. Looks like they're maybe starting to discuss or in the middle of a meeting. What would be the purpose of having something like that?
Or we're creating business for them. They have to take that business and run with it. That's my perception.
Yeah.
So,
No.
yeah.
Yep. Good. That's good. And as I said, like it's good to have some moving parts, some things that catch your attention. Like we have some interchanging words coming above the headline: online review, paid advertising. Once again, further pinpointing the specific services that we do. And there's just a light moving arrow just under the headline as well. Just some of those subtle moving parts that keeps your eyes engaged without being distractions.
Yep. Cool.
It's,
So
it's, I've
then
seen
the
it
next
too.
part down. Oh, sorry, go ahead, bud.
I was just about to say, I've seen it too on websites where they'll just put slideshows on, which slideshows can be good, but a lot of times they just move so fast. And it's just subtle key is good. Just keep my eyes engaged without being a distraction.
It's funny because if you look at the evolution of websites, images that moved or videoed or something like that were always like a big impactful thing that all websites wanted to have on them. I think they serve a purpose. I think they'd be really good for movie websites or even videographer websites. It's like you come to their website, there's like what do they call it? A demo of their demo reel of their work in the background,
Yep.
right? I think there's just time and a place for it. If you're a home service professional, I can maybe see having a video of fixing a pipe, shaking a hand, something like that. If you're a plumber, I'd let them know that you're the all-in-one solution, but don't be braggadocious about it. We have it faded in the background for a reason. We don't want them to be overwhelmed by that video when they land on the site. So
Let's say you have other avenues, YouTube, social medias, to kind of just show off your work and show a bunch of those videos. Or even on your website, you can have like a portfolio page like we do, but you don't want that to take away. If they're landing on your homepage, you don't want them to miss the services, kind of what we were talking about, what you actually do, how they can service you, if they're getting distracted by some of the videos of you actually doing it work. So I like that. Like, it's good to have it, just make it subtle and not distraction on your website. There's other places that you can really show off how good you are.
yep. As you scroll down our website, we have things that we call sections, right? A blog section, and we have services section. And you'll notice that outside of the blogs, every single section has a call to action attached to it. Having people scroll up or down to contact you is cumbersome. If I'm on my phone, I don't have to sit there and scroll back up all the way to the top to call. So if I can do it as I'm going down, boom, that's just really easy. And on our website, those buttons are made for mobile. So if they click to call, it'll actually make their phone call the business, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. Just under our blog section, I see this loaded question. I know the answer to, but I just love that you're breaking down the psychology of things. We have this ultimate internet marketing checklist with another call to action. Like, what is that? Because that's not necessarily people doing business with us, but what's the importance of having something like that on your website?
Yeah, that's a free gift to start a conversation. We call that a lead magnet, and it serves a purpose. It's really good content, right? There's three types of people who are going to visit your website. You just need to know this. There's the DIY. They're going to do it themselves, right? There's you got to do it with me. So maybe they would sign up for a class or something like that we would actually hold. Then there's the people that need to have it done for them, right? If you're a busy plumber, the last thing that you want to do is sit there worry about your website. You want to go take care of the business that's coming in. The we do it for you is what we want to get to, but we have to have conversations to see if that'd be a solution. So if somebody comes to our website, they download that checklist. It's really easy to take that information and run with it. That brings me to a whole other point of the purpose of a website. It's validity. It's also to capture people who come to the website.
Yep.
You have to figure out what happens when people fill out that form, what chain of action happens. So if you're a plumber, you get a lead magnet on there, how to avoid frozen pipes in the wintertime. That's a lead magnet, seasonal. If somebody fills that out, what happens after they fill it out? You get the contact information. What happens then?
Yeah. Exactly.
Open question. But if you don't have a plan of action, if you don't have an automation in the back end, it almost doesn't make sense to have that lead form on there.
No, exactly. And the one thing I want to, when talking about lead magnets, a lot of people can get a little worried about, but I don't want to give away too much free information or too much of my tips and tricks. And I get it. I do get it. But also by giving away something free, you're adding so much value. And I think you're also underestimating. So say you're a plumber or an electrician and you're giving away a checklist, like a homeowner checklist that people can do to make sure they're not having leaks, or little adjustments that they can do. Just like we have a checklist, like you could be giving a plumbing checklist. Yeah, there's part of it, as you said, some of the people that might be coming to the website, Jeremy, might be do-it-yourself people. But for the most part, a lot of people might take that free checklist. And I would say for the most part, start working through it and come to the realization of, I could do this, but I don't really want to. And it makes them realize how important hiring a professional is. It's like as soon as they start going through and seeing how like truly in depth that free checklist you give them is, honestly, I would argue it makes them want to hire a professional even more, because they just start going through it. They're like, I don't have the time. I'm like, I could do it, but honestly, it's going to have to get redone in 6 months from now because I can't do it as well. So that's just another point I want to talk about, how important it is to be okay with giving away free information, just because it's giving away value and it's making people trust you more. So even, I was going to say, we're talking about a checklist, but what are some other ideas like a plumber or electrician could give? Maybe a free estimate, something along the lines, or discounted like for service or something.
Yeah.
What are some other things you could think of?
Yeah, you're right down to people buy things because there's a deal, it's a service they absolutely need, the quality of the product, or the limitation of the product, right? Limited time only, stuff like that. If a plumber or electrician is looking to increase their business, easily on the landing page, having a coupon code for 50% off the first house call. That would be not everything, but like the initial house call. Usually there's a fee of $60 to show up. Maybe that's $30 for a limited time. That's fine. And the reason why I'm going to backtrack a little bit, if we give away a free gift, Mike, I want to try something with you really quick. It's about the free gift that we give them. So just play along, okay? Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. That's called the law of reciprocity. Do you know about the law of reciprocity, Mike?
I do not.
Okay. The law of reciprocity means that if I'm generous and I give you something, maybe like an initial greeting, really big chance that you're going to come back asking me that same exact question. That's the law of reciprocity. And if you give away a free gift, if you continually give away amazing gifts, people will actually look forward to getting emails from you, right? So when they have that big problem, or they hear of a friend that has that big problem, who's the first person that comes into mind? The person that's given the most. Yep. Get away from the mindset of scarcity, get in the mindset of generosity, especially when it comes to those hooks or those lead magnets.
I've never really heard it said, but that is true. Like my email, where I get all of my promotional emails from all like the services that I've done business with or things that I've bought, the ones I pay attention to the most are the ones that I know every single time I go on my email, they're giving me a discount on something or giving me a chance to win something free. Those are, honestly, I've never, as I say, you put a spark in my head there. I was just like, that's so true. The more I know a company gives something away, that's more likely I'm going to look at their content that's sending it.
Harbor Freight is a really good example. Yep. I never miss a Harbor Freight coupon email because I love tools. I love working on my bikes, my cars. So like anytime I see a Harbor Freight like email, I open it up and I just look and see if there's anything that is on my wish list. And if it's on sale, it's only on sale this week.
I was gonna say, and even some of those bigger ones, Home Depot or like some of the beer brands too, like they talk about their sponsorship. So like they're sponsoring professional athletes, they're sponsoring contests, like they tell stories about that too. And those things are also always so intriguing to look at too, like seeing how this NASCAR driver did. They're giving away those stories too, which are really engaging that I always look forward to.
I love those. Yeah. I had a thought there and it went out. So
No worries. I don't want to talk away before we get too far away from just at this point, we were talking about giving away free gifts, bring it back to the website of a lead magnet. I don't know. I don't think you've mentioned it, but there's two different types of call to actions. There's your primary call to action, which is what we have at the top of the website. We have it, I would say, most places, and that's the give us a call. That's a fill out this form. That those primary calls to actions are the ones that you are gonna get direct business. That's how, if people want to do business with you, those are the main calls to action. The one we've been talking about, giving away a free gift, giving away a lead magnet, is what we like to call a transitional call to action. And those are for people that might land on your website and they're going back and forth and they're just not ready to do business yet. If they can, maybe they're not ready to call you, but they'll download this free lead magnet that gives you their email so you can keep warming them up. As I said, like you can put them in your email list and keep touching base with them until they are ready. So those are the people that might not be ready, but if you can keep them in the forefront, keep them touching base with them via emails and other marketing campaigns, then down the road they'll be ready. So I just wanted to make sure we touched on the difference between a primary call to action and what we've been talking about, which is a transitional call to action. Say, do you have anything else to add to a transitional call to action?
No, I think every website should have one, no matter what you do.
Awesome. Yeah. The one question I did want to talk about that I think is very important, because as we said, we could talk all day just going section by section and what the importance is. But I think something that's very important that every website does, or at least should have, is a header and footer. And I guess I wanted to ask you, since you're breaking down the psychology of things here, what's so important about, like, what information should I have in my header and footer? Like, what's the point? What's the purpose of a header and footer?
Yeah. So in web design, we kind of stick to old school. We had this term called above the fold, right? So above the fold means whatever they see first when they come to the website. I think a good header is going to have a logo or the business name up top, so you know that you're actually on the right page. It's going to have a menu, so that menu is going to have different services, drop down, stuff like that, which is going to be great. Phone numbers, possibly email if it's the right section for it. They're all up on the header. And as you scroll down and you get to the footer, the reason the footer is there is to, one, let people know that the website's coming to an end, but two, it gives them an option to actually take movement on something. It's also a place where a company can hide the legalese of a website, privacy policies, terms, conditions. That's something every website should have, especially if you're capturing information. Social media, right? Social media is found on the bottom of a website, not the front or not the top. We don't want people going to your website, going to Facebook really quickly and get off your website. We want them to stay on your website for a little bit. Addresses, name, address, phone number on the bottom of the footer. Links, really quick links for reference. So addresses.
No, that's very important. And obviously we could have other full episodes talking about the different pages that might be on a header, like a blog, the importance of having a blog page, the importance of having, I was going to say, as we subtly mentioned earlier, a portfolio page showing off your work, just some of those things you might see at the top, or a page that lists your services. As I said, we could have full-on episodes talking about each one of those pages, but I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole just because we want to keep this one talking about just the importance of a website, a website in general. But obviously it's important also just to have, as you said, those primary call to actions, but just have like your phone number right at the top, just so when people can see it. And then also, as you said, right at the bottom as well. But other than that, like before getting, as I said, we could get deeper into a lot of these conversations and the intricacies of a website and different pages on a website. Just talking about the homepage, is there anything else that like just stands out to you that you want to just touch on regarding like the homepage?
Yes and no to your question. I think we've broken down the basics of design, the basics of psychology, making sure we have different photos. I think another thing that people need to know is what you don't see on the website, right? Analytics. We need to be able to see when somebody comes to our website, what are they clicking on? What flow are they going for? How much traffic is coming to your website? Where are they coming from? And that's something that I think everybody needs to know so they can know where to put their marketing dollar.
Yeah.
So analytics.
Yep. I was saying, if you don't, and then you don't know how to adjust, you don't know what to do better. If you have a slow month, you're not having many calls come in, you don't know what part of your marketing is lacking. And if you're having a busy month and something is clicking and something is working, then you don't know how to push into that further, because once again, you don't. So I totally agree. Being able to track, being able to have those analytics so that you can run strategy. because without that tracking, without those analytics, you're just shooting a shotgun blind out there, and you can't really figure out where to put your strategy. But,
Yep.
yeah. So I was gonna say, is there anything else regarding the design, the psychology, as you said, about a website that you wanted to get into?
Forms, the forms on the front page should be pretty simple: name, email, phone number. If you provide services, you can have a drop down of the services that you provide. So what do you need help with today? Have a drop down of whatever service you provide, and then hit submit. Simple. We don't want to complicate it on the front page at all.
Keep it simple, stupid.
I think as people scroll down the website too, I think each section should have different colors, just slight variations, so they know that there's a separation there, either on the services or they're going into a new section for sure.
Yeah, something that they know that they're going to a different section, that there's going to be new information that they could benefit from. I like that, creating that distinction.
Yep. And then we also like having how do you contact us? Break down to 4 easy steps of what's going to happen when they contact us. Spelling that out is really nice too, in my opinion.
Yep. So we talked also, the one thing I want to touch on is we talked about like the importance of the headline at the top, but what about some of the content? Like some of these sections I'm looking at on our website, we actually have written content. Like what are some do's and don'ts about the actual written content on that homepage?
Yep. The do's, right, for them, not for you, right?
Yep.
Make sure that it's very informative on what they're going to get if they work with you. Maybe if you want to put something in there as the last sentence, that's fine. But you kind of want to have also the last sentence kind of lead into the next section if possible. But shorter sentences, not long paragraphs, make it all about them.
Bullet points, lists are always so much easier to read and are more attractive to the eye than just long written paragraphs.
Yeah. If you want to get into the psychology website, it's well known, the 12 archetypes of marketing. Know the personality you're writing for would actually help too. Are you writing for homeowners, writing for corporations? That how you write for them will actually help them decide if they're going to do business with you or not.
There's a huge don't I do want to touch on, and we see it so often, and it's businesses once again taking a little too much pride in who they are, and they'll write their whole business story right on the front page. That's not telling a customer what you do. That's telling them your life story. We're established in 1964, and like that stuff is intriguing. But that's for an about page. People go to an about page for that, to learn, just because they like that's more information. But you can lose potential clients because they'll get lost in that area of things. But then by the time they're done reading it, they're like, okay, I know who you are, but I don't know what you do. And it's so important, especially on that homepage that most people are going to be landing on, that they know what you do.
Yep, I agree. Pretty right on there. I think as far as like the homepage goes,
I think so too.
I think that's about it, to be honest with you.
Let's say this was good. As I said, we're just trying to do 3,000 view overlook of what it looks like. As Jeremy elaborated on, there's a psychology to this, and you can just keep diving deeper and deeper. So we're just trying to avoid the weeds. And as I said, we're going to have future episodes about some of the other pages that you're going to have on a website. So we'll talk about what a blog page is, why it's important to have blogging on your website, what do blogs even do. We can talk about a portfolio page. So it's just a shameless plug to keep paying attention as we're releasing these weekly. We're just going to keep having a discussion. And I also wanted to throw out there, as always, if you made it this far into the podcast, we want to invite you. Yeah, we want to invite you on to share your story. This podcast will become way better than just Jeremy and I discussing tips and tricks. Hopefully we're adding value, but we also want to welcome other people on to share their stories so other business owners can get value from them as well. And as I said, create a community around this podcast as well. Jeremy, do you have any parting words for today?
No, just take a look at your own website. Make sure that it's aimed towards your target audience. Make sure the front page is about them. And if you have any questions, reach out.
Yeah, nope, that sounds good. Exactly what you said. If you have any questions or would like to have a further conversation about anything we talked about, you can type in the link at the bottom, our ValorouSCircle.com link tree. We'd love to talk to you. But as always, we'll see you next week. These podcasts release every Friday. and we hope everybody has a good day.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, guys.